All right, here we go. We're going to discuss the Gauntlet of verification. I'm going to read from a chapter that I have in all three of my books. Some slight differences in each of the book, but basically the same content. I'm going to read it. I'm going to add some commentary as I'm reading to get this into a little video. All right, here we go. Before we go too deep into the God and love discussion, I should say a few things about the foundations of religious observance to keep from falling back into ignorance. There are no ancient, archaic texts that goes as few as 100 years or older in our modern world that can provide enough certainty of original intent for fanatical, hostile, and violent discussions or actions for or against their meanings by either believer, agnostic, scientist, or atheist. This also applies to documentations of all history written by either the victims, neutral observers, archaeological theorists, or others. With this pronouncement, we are not removing value, only toxicity, strife, violence, negativity, division, etc. Um, this idea that there are no ancient texts that have that much validity that they can use it to abuse others. Uh, this may initially disturb, undermine, deflate, or anger those who have invested any or all their lives to learning all the details and minutiae of their denominationally specific translation of the Old or New Testaments, Upanishads, Talmud, Quran, Sunnah, Bhagavad Gita, Tripitaka, or etc. After acquiring the freedom and complete satisfaction of living in the essence that some of these religions try to convey, in loving God with all our faculties and being, you will be glad that there is nothing more to argue about or stress over between various religions and between the religions and the non-religious or religion uh, versus science or denominations versus other denominations of the same religion. This will not only be, this is from the book, The Second Resurrection of Jesus. This will not only be a resurrection of God's message in Jesus, but also of dead or lost souls. Because a lot of people are lost souls, dead. They've missed out on this loving God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. For what we will refer to as the gauntlet of verification to avoid repeating this list, it becomes apparent that a combination of colon, and number one, etymology, the study of the origin of words and the way in which their meanings have changed throughout history. An example can be the potential use of the informal slang of an era culture or the current use of slang versions of the original words that will mislead translations and interpretations. The terms groovy, hip, dig it, cool, grass, gas, far out, etc. from the hippie era in the 60s are terms that may already be out of common use after 60 years. Number two, exegesis, critical explanation or interpretation of a text, especially scripture. Three, philology, the branch of knowledge that deals with the structure, historical development, excuse me, and relationships of a language or languages. Four, dialects, a form of a language that is peculiar to a specific region or social group. The dialects of the original speaker and listener at the time spoken were passed along the oral tradition chain, and the dialect of the writers, when it's finally written down after several years or hundreds of years, uh, can play a role. The English language variations spoken in Jamaica, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, the southern U.S., and some U.S. cities and neighborhoods, Australia, and all colonies of English imperialism and elsewhere, uh, including like Old English. The King James Version has the these, and thous, and therefores, and so and probably the original English language is a different language than what we have today. By persons literate and partially literate in English are some current examples that can and often do lead to current breakdowns in communications as evidence for potential past breakdowns. Other languages and cultures will have their own barriers to verification. Number 5, translations. As of July 2018, Wikipedia claimed there were 109 English translations of the Old and New Testament combined Bible, with another 180 plus or minus separate New Testament translations, with 74 English translations of the Quran. Each translation is at least slightly, if not completely different than the others. This is not counting all the additional variations in other language translations. One Quran translation tries to convey a religion of neutrality, while others interpret the most evil and violent belief system on earth, while others are of varying degrees between these two extremes. No one knows which one is the true religion of Islam, or which ones are of Mohammedism, Abu Bakrism, Aishaism, Aliism, Umarism, Uthmanism, etc. Of 62 English translations of the New Testament, John 4:24, 16 of these use God is a spirit. 45 use God is spirit, and one uses God is sheer being itself, dash spirit, where the letter A makes a world of difference. And this happened to be one of my favorite verses. Um, now, uh, everything is composed of atomic energy. Uh, Everywhere we go, all of our being, all of our body, and everything around us is composed of atomic energy, atomic particles. And we have a little theorem, a little mathematical equation of energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. That's some kind of a mathematical model to decide how much energy is within a certain parcel or piece of matter. Now that energy theoretically exists in all of the universe or the omniverse or the multiverse. Uh, and everywhere you go, this energy exists. It's in constant motion. It's constantly what I'm calling alive. It is life. It is, to me, it's the spirit of God. This atomic energy that we are composed of, and we are in. We live in a field of energy that is amazing, uh, and we act like animals at times. We're irreverent, unconscious, not aware of how magical the world is that we live in. Um, and I'm calling this omniverse. I use the term omniverse in case there are multiple universes. It's going to cover everything, every black hole, every dark matter. Is going to cover everything behind the scenes and apparent or visible or knowable. the knowable and the unknowable are all going to fit into this term omniverse. It's everything. Everything that was, is, would be, could be, should be. The term omniverse is going to fit everything. If the universe is expanding, it's probably expanding into something. Uh, so that something that the universe is supposedly, I doubt the mathematical accuracy of a expanding universe that is all going in one direction, and like we're the center of the universe, and we know that it is expanding. It might be growing, it might be breathing, expanding, and contracting. But anyway, you don't want to get lost in it. The omniverse is everything, everything that could exist, would exist, should exist, anything you can imagine, um, or that gets discovery. Every new discovery fits this omniverse. And I'm also going to call that God. If God is omnipresent, if God is omnipotent, all powerful, and present everywhere, omnipresent, all omnipotent, all powerful, and omniscient, knows everything, then all the power in my fingernail or in the chair I'm sitting on, all the atomic energy everywhere must not only belong to God, but must be God. If God is omnipresent, then God must be in every molecule, every particle, every proton, neutron, electron within atoms and particles. God must be everything. God must be 99% of me, 99% of you is being created by something else. It was created uh, by something else. It was put here by someone else, something else, and you're being kept alive by something else. You may participate in it by feeding yourself or drinking fluids and breathing or allowing yourself to breathe. Actually, breathing, you can't, you technically, I don't believe anybody's ever held their breath without a mechanical device covering themselves up and being able to kill themselves. The being within you will shut you down and make you breathe. Um, you might be able to starve yourself to death, but you can't stop yourself breathing and die. You probably damage, probably hold nothing long enough to damage your brain cells or something. But um, anyway, something else that's running the show, and it's not us. We have limited what is debated about um, our ability to, our free will to do whatever we want to do, because we definitely have to live within the confines of different things. And we're all driven towards being in harmony with this spirit. We've been since we were children. We're driven. The being within us drives us toward being in harmony with the world around us. And breathing love, finding your love center, and harmonizing yourself. Breathing is an acceptance. Breathing is something you need to do. It's your natural umbilical cord and connection. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into what love is in another edition. I got to keep moving here because I'm trying to keep this video a little bit more neat, a little more simplified, just for the sake of keeping it so people aren't getting bored. Um, so no one knows what's the true religion of Mohammedanism. Uh, God is a spirit. God is spirit. Big difference. Shows just how one little letter A can make a major difference. And it's just on this one little statement is all that is needed to undermine the validity of any ancient text that has any variation. If there's any variation anywhere, then we don't know exactly, even if the words are pristine and the words haven't been misinterpreted, or mistranslated, even if they're exact, if it's an error, then it's, and if there's a difference, then we don't know. And we can't, again, you can run as far as you want with positive interpretations that are erroneous, but don't go anywhere with a an interpretation that causes harm to others. There's there's not enough justification. The whole idea of this undermining of ancient texts is to undermine the killing, the raping, the terrorizing, the murdering, the cutting people's heads off, setting people on fire, burning people at the stake, crucifixions, any harassments and terrorizing and abuse and misusing and enslaving and all the barbaric crap that has filtered into ancient texts has to go. There's no grounds, there's no solid ground to stand on to support any of the negativity. It needs to go. There's some positive stuff that can be harnessed, harvested, and utilized, but the negative stuff has to go from all ancient texts. It can be either put into the realm of mysticism or mythology, but the negative crap from all the ancient texts has to go. So anyway, we're showing some small little differences in a couple little sentences that make a world of difference. And again, in Luke 17:21, of these 62 translations, which I'm getting the 62 translations out of a biblical, I don't know the name of it, but a biblical thing you can refer to online. It gives you at least 62 different translations. In Luke 17:21, of the 62 translations, 15 say Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is among you. 24 say it is within you. The big difference. Among you is around, and within you is inside of you. Big difference. Subtle little wording differences and interpretations, but it's a big difference. Again, a world of difference. Um, uh, 24 say it's within you. 16 say it's in your midst. 2 say here with you. 1 says within your grasp. 2 say inside, and 1 says ruling the lives of his people. The Old and New Testaments combined are said to have 684,746 words and 3,566,480 letters, depending on the translation. This presents practically innumerable opportunities, combinations, or misinterpretations, mistranslations, ignorance, error, or deception. Number 6, interpretations, the action of explaining the meaning of something. And who's doing the explaining and what are they explaining? With actual and potential biases for or against positive or negative meanings. Yes, if a devout Muslim is interpreting the Sirah or the Quran or the Sunnah, um, he's going to put a positive spin on it. If an atheist is interpreting, translating, he's going to put his spin on it. If a Christian or a Jew is putting their uh, spin on the interpretation, you're going to come up with some different versions. If a scientist, a rationalist, or a professional translator who is a neutral observer, you could come up with a variety, which apparently we do, come up with a variety of different translations, depending on who's doing the interpretations. So there's actual and potential biases for or against positive and negative meanings. Not all with canvas and brush will replicate vivid images of the original. If any one of us starts writing and drawing a landscape or a picture of me, or a picture of a memory of me, or a picture of your mother after she's passed away, or a picture of your grandmother from memory, you're first of all, you might not be able to draw very well. Second, or even if you can draw very well, your image of your great grandmother may be very vague, and you might not be able to replicate it anyway. But it's going to come, and if 15 different people draw images of your great grandmother, you could have a whole 15 different pictures. Relative handfuls of people decide the meanings of ancient archaic texts for billions of readers. So that gets a little narrow focus. Don't get a wide variety of different, maybe you get too many different versions, either way you look at it. Number 7, current and past cultural influences, how it affects the interpretation and the translation and uh, uh, the actual practice. Number 8, oral traditions and transmissions and the commonly understood potential for variations, distortions, exaggerations, minimalizations. Now, there's some kids' games like this Chinese whispers and telephone. There's passing a story around a classroom or a room, even if you were at a party, for one person, from one person to the next, and comparing the beginning and ending versions of that original or that story. Original versions are often lost. Um, the original and that's kind of a common understanding that oral transmissions can distort things. The original observer sees, hears, smells, touches, tastes, and experiences the people, places, things, miracles, and activities being described with their understandings of their choices of words, while those that listen to the observer, one who saw or was there at the scene. So now we go away from the scene or the person, the original speaker, um, and they go into a secondhand version passing on. Uh, they have to use words to describe. They don't have visual, don't see the scene. They don't smell the scene. They don't hear the scene. They don't see the facial expressions. They don't see body language, the vocal tones. Uh, while those that listen to the observer's verbal explanation, repetition, or description of the words spoken or event must reinterpret to their understandings of the words they hear without actual experience. And then 100, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years later, we must interpret the meanings or intent of the original speaker or experience through the filter of our own current understandings of the world we live in, and we read, or the words we read, or those preached to us. Number 9, semantics, the branch of linguistics and logic concerned with meaning. Number 10, prejudice for or against the speaker, prophet, messenger, apostle, leading to exaggerations of their talents or flaws, as in conflicting media versions of U.S. presidents, political opponents, foreign leaders, and social engineering. And then Jews, Christians, Mohammedans, other religions, agnostics, and atheists have a wide and varying view of Jesus, um, and a wide and varying view of everything, especially the presidential elections. In one case, one side thinks the other side's version is Hitler or the devil himself, and the other one is the new Messiah. And then reverses often happen that their candidate is the new Messiah, and the other one is going to destroy the country or destroy democracy or destroy a bunch of politics has become some version of cultural, political mental illness. They should probably diagnose it some way because it's lost its path. 11, provenance, place of origin or earliest known history of something, the record of ownership of speakers, listeners, writers, and their documents over the period or a period, even exact replications of false, distorted, or forged ancient archaic text lead to false modern text. So you can have a perfectly preserved text, and because you have it and you think you've got something special, it could have been forged back in the day, 1,400 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 3,500 years ago, 5,000 years ago. The documents you have and their translations or transmissions, um, uh, it could have been perfectly preserved, but it was perfectly preserved forgery, perfectly preserved uh, error, misguidance. Number 12, humans choosing which stories, evidence, books, materials, and sources were excluded or included in the final editions or canon of all ancient archaic texts and their modern representations. Um, so people have a tendency to screw up free lunches, uh, and there's no doubt about it that humans have, at least in small areas, if not in large areas, or even totally, have screwed up and gathered the wrong stories and burned the good stories. So we've had to rely on human transmission, a dangerous thing to rely on. Number 13, literacy, linguistic competence, and intelligence of this whole chain of transmission. The speakers who spoke it originally, the listeners, um, the 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 writers, people who wrote this down, the interpreters, the translators, and then the final, the reader. So depending on who's reading, writing, listening, speaking, interpreting, translating, there's a whole variety of different people, of different uh, literary, linguistic competence, and intelligence. So there's a variety of different options for things to go wrong uh, over time, especially time. Time is part of what we're dealing with, this gauntlet of verification. Uh, 14 sects, SECTS, a group of people with somewhat different religious beliefs, typically regarded as heretical from those of a larger group to which they belong. I have some comments on that, but if I have some extra time, I'll come back to it. 15, given, I might as well put the comments on there. So if there's a different sect, if there's a stronger sect that is ignorant and barbaric, they could kill off or destroy or damage the more loving, harmonious, peaceful group that is closer to the truth of loving God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. And again, when you're loving God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, you're loving with all your being, uh, and you're loving God, who is omniversal, everywhere, omnipresent. So everywhere you go, even your enemy, even those your different of different religions or different political persuasions, are composed of the same atomic energy or spirit as you are or we are. Um, and if you want peace, you want harmony in your world, uh, learning how to love no matter who or what is around you, what's going on around you, in all times and all places, is finding peace, finding fruition, becoming a child of God, becoming one with God, becoming one with the universe. Even an atheist can find the same thing. Breathe, find your love center, and focus more on your breathing, more on your love, more on your harmony, and change um, change your thinking, recondition yourself, decondition yourself from responding like a Pavlovian dog who's drooling at the sound of a bell or who's getting violent at the sight of somebody doing something, other than, again, protecting your children or protecting your friends or protecting those who are in need. I don't want to dismiss that kind of protection. I don't want to stand by and watch somebody get raped or beaten or abused, especially if I can do something about it. The 15 is the lack of facial expressions, body language, and vocal tones in the written word, as seen in the clumsiness and communication errors in modern texting. Again, if I, or I don't know if I did this before, but if I say go fuck yourself, that's crazy. But I say it with a tone, I have a different tone. I say, motherfucker, go fuck yourself. Now I have the tone going on, I have facial expressions, I've got the body language, and motherfucker, fucking. Then it has a different meaning. But if I say, you know what, I think you should go fuck yourself, and like it, and have a twinkle in my eye, a different, softer tone, it has a whole different meaning. So that gets missed out in the written word. You don't get a chance to see or experience what the original speaker may have meant, or what their true meaning was. So number 16, potential and actual uses of irony, sarcasm, mockery, parables, humor, deception, etc., that are difficult to discern in the written word or by uh, those that were targets of these methods. All right, so there's some more things. It's better if you know the person. Like, I think I'm a funny motherfucker. I think I have a real humorous. I think I'm a real funny guy sometimes, which I think I can be. Um, but uh, if you don't know my sense of humor, if you don't see my facial expressions, if you don't see my body language, and you don't know that I'm just joking around, then you may misunderstand me and think I'm serious. So there's a lot of things that can be, and if I'm a lying, cheating thief, a con artist, then a snake oil salesman or a shell game character, I'm intentionally trying to deceive you so I can get your money or get your resources or get your support, like some political campaign where they're telling you they're going to give you the world, but right after they get elected, they don't want to know you, and they don't want to do what you wanted them to do. They want to do something else. So there's a lot of opportunity for deception, because you're not there listening to irony, sarcasm, mockery, parable, humor, and deception. Then there's 17 is scientific conflicts with non-allegorically written ancient archaic text stories unsupported by claims of miraculous creation, Adam and Eve, and Noah's Ark. Uh, those things didn't happen as they're told. They may have some little connection to them, but they didn't happen as they were told. Um, in particular, Noah's Ark, and probably Adam and Eve seems a little far fetched, especially when you look at the lineage and time frame from Adam and Eve to current day. They documented back in the Bible the ages of different people, even when they were living to 500, 900 years. It still doesn't add up to the modern day understanding of the time the Earth has been around with the dinosaurs. People have to struggle. This is one of the problems that the written word that we have. People have to struggle with dinosaurs. They have to deny that they existed. They have to have a new Earth. They have to have a flat Earth. They have to have They have to have all kinds of things. They have to have a 7,000 year time frame from Adam all the way to now. They can't have ice ages. They can't have Neanderthals. They can't have 2 million-year-old early hominids. You can't have a variety of different things because they have to be fixed. You're stuck in literal interpretation, literal understanding of ancient text. But this gauntlet of verification hopefully should ease their fears and their drama. That none of it matters. What really matters is that you love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. And for your own personal well-being and for God and your connection with God or connection with the omniverse, uh, that's what really matters. That's what matters for mental health. When you're breathing and you feel your love center in your breath, you're outside your mind. There is no mental illness in love. Love eliminates all the other drama. And fear generates shallow breathing. And when you have full, natural, comfortable breathing, you don't have any fear. You can't have fear in love, but you have to make yourself, have to train yourself to be loving because we're used to listening to what we're told is we're supposed to be to hate, or be angry with, be frustrated with, or to be afraid of. But and we have natural instincts that generate like natural fears. But when we cultivate love, we start eliminating all those fears. Start to shed. Start to like a new coming out of a cocoon and going changing from a caterpillar to a beautiful butterfly or even a moth. Anything but transitioning from a one who's caught up in all the anger and hatred and jealousy and fears and dramas and chaoses and false needs, dependencies, and move into the freedom of love and the joy and the euphoria of love. Um, so we don't. Adam and Eve, creation story, Noah's Ark. They don't even need to have happened. It's not important. Some people might think it's important. Well, we need to build a stage, build a structure. No, we don't. We need to do what is our instinctive. We're instinctively driven towards loving harmony with the world, and we're biblically guided to towards or into love and harmony with God. It's the same thing. We're animal, our instincts are driving us towards loving harmony with the omniverse from a scientific or atheistic point of view, or we're being driven into the loving relationship with God. Either way you look at it, we're all on the same path. We're all going that direction. We all want to go in that direction. Anything that holds us back from going in that direction, either self-induced or socially induced or religiously or ethnically or culturally, anything that keeps us as individuals from achieving and maintaining a harmoniously loving uh, 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 interaction or connection with the world we live in or God uh, is an error and needs to be taken out of the way. We need to grow into loving human beings. Uh, so for our own good and the world around us. Number 18, limited understandings in all areas of life and the natural world of the people of the period and era, limiting the communications between the speakers and listeners. Um, People didn't understand that we had atomic energy here all around us. They didn't know that you can get in and split an atom uh, and generate a chain reaction that can level Hiroshima or Nagasaki. Or we can get in there and start splitting atoms and harness that energy and generate a nuclear power plant that run properly can be clean energy that lights up a whole city. There's more than light it up. It generates the computers that I'm making this video on, and your computer or television or wherever it is you're watching this from. Um, so there's potential energy that exists all around us, in us, we're composed of it, that leads us to believe, or if we are aware of it, that we have the potential to walk on water, to jump, leap tall buildings with a single bound, to heal the sick, heal ourselves. Potential energy exists to live forever. If energy neither dies nor this, that, and the other thing, it just changes forms, then this is uh, this is something that uh, is is included in what I want to like to see happen. Is that we start trying to learn how to utilize our our potential energy, uh, this atomic energy. Of course, we don't want to explode or catch, overheat, but knowing that the Spirit of God, the energy of the universe, the omniverse, is in us and around us, and we live in this amazing energy field. It's amazing energy, or it's the amazing Spirit of God. And again, for this discussion, we're going to definitely include that it's the Spirit of God. It's our Creator, whether we like it or not. We came from it. We're part of it. We're being sustained by it, and we are currently being created by our Creator, and that's either the omniverse or it's God. Either way, it's the same result, and being in harmony with it is the same goal, instinctive goal, or directive goal that we're being guided towards through religion. Um, Number 20 is the communication limitations or restrictions imposed by antagonistic forces of the times the message were conveyed, on obscure language or code words or dog whistling to avoid detections and the penalties that may rain down upon violators of outlawed practices and anything related. We currently need an urban dictionary to understand intentionally cryptic and unknowingly devolved languages used by the many different racial, ideological, religious, corporate supremacists, criminal gangs, hipsters, youth, politicians, and other secret societies of our modern era. In our current 21st century, we have also become aware of the current difficulties in expressing opinions and ideas that the local, state, national, and international thought police, social engineers, and or media do not approve of, that may cause loss of job, reputation, freedom, and in some cases life. Now, back in the day, the Romans could have persecuted Christians, and the Christians had to learn to have symbols of fish and have a variety of different little secret languages so they could avoid getting fed to the lions. The Muslims during the Mecca period, early Mecca period, could have been persecuted by the Meccans, and they could have cultivated a language of, you might call it deception, or just trying to be discreet so they didn't get themselves killed before they gained power up in Medina. And once they gained power in Medina, then they didn't need to um, hold back on what they were saying, and apparently they didn't. And the, the language, the culture started to devolve into a barbaric cult. It went from a peace-loving, possibly because of Muhammad's, the whole idea of being Islam being submission, and a Muslim being one who submits. If you're submissive and to God, and loving God. Loving God is learning to love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength is a form, is probably the most beautiful form of submission that I can think of. And one who submits, one who becomes a lover of God in all things. So this discounts any murders and cutting people's heads off. When you love God, you see God, which God, there's no question about it. You can't call God omnipresent. You can't call God omnipotent. You can't call God omniscient and knows everything. And you can't call God the creator of everything without knowing and understanding that God is this omniverse. God is everything. God is everywhere. There's no, if he's omnipresent, then he's everywhere. Or if he, it's not a he, God is, including the feminine. God is in everything. God is the creator of all things, and God is the father of all things, is the mother of all things. Mother Nature and Father God. God has all children, not just one child or five children. All children are God's children, whether they know it or not, or whether they're ignorant or not, or whether they're lost or not, or whether they're violent or not. Whether that's usually a symbol that you're lost, is that you're being violent and brutal and barbaric. You're a lost soul, and you need to be put in check and return to your natural instinct, return to your God-given sense of direction toward being loving and harmonious. So anyway, this is this little gauntlet of verification. That's just again, I'm 16, 17 minutes over what I wanted, the half hour I wanted to go on, but I couldn't do it any shorter. So I'm going to cut short on that and go on to the next video. So thanks for listening if you're still there, and hopefully you got something out of it. You either disagree with anything or everything I said, and you have some comments to put in there, which I'm open to, because if any time I make an error, I love to have it corrected. And I love correction, because I like to be on the side of correctness. All right, later.